Hello, I'm Rowan Froemel, and welcome to People in Perspective. This is our guest, Jennifer Froemel. So, to start off the interview, my question is, why did you become a therapist?
I became a therapist because I was initially going to be an attorney, so I thought. And after having one class in undergrad, I decided that that was really not for me. And so I had at that time been minoring in psychology and decided to major in it. And while I was majoring in it, I also realized I didn't fully like just plain psychology, so I wanted to understand better the human brain and body connection. So I double majored in pre-med and psychology, and then thought I was going to be a psychiatrist until I realized I would just be pushing pills, and that's not really what I wanted to do. So when it came time to figure out what I wanted to do, to be an adult, I ended up going ahead to get my master's degree in clinical psychology.
That brings me to my next question. Where did you go?
I went in my undergrad at Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois, and then I got my master's degree at Roosevelt University in Chicago.
My next question is, what different kinds of therapy is there?
Wow, there's a ton. Well, in my group practice, presently we offer sand tray therapy, we offer art therapy, we offer accelerated resolution therapy, eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, therapy with youth and adolescents. So there's a lot of different ways you can engage with somebody therapeutically. Yeah.
So I was wondering, what are your likes and dislikes about your job?
Well, my job as a therapist, I would say my job as a therapist, I really don't have a lot of dislikes, quite frankly. I would say probably the biggest thing that I don't like is having to manage the billing part. It's that getting paid to do the work you do, so you can afford the roof over your head. Insurance companies are really difficult to deal with. They change the rules all the time, so it's not even like a football game where they're ruling on the field and they change things. Insurance companies change things and you don't know it until after it's already happened. So as a provider, I think that it feels really yucky to have to deal with that.
How was it starting your own business?
Well, it was really exciting initially. The idea of being able to control kind of what I wanted to do sounded really alluring and exciting. And then the realities of the pressure, right? There is no one above me that can do the work. So the reality that it's on me, and if I have somebody who's not working out, it's my job to have to manage that and let them go or have an uncomfortable conversation. So I've gotten really good at uncomfortable conversations. How
did COVID-19 affect your business?
Well, I think like many businesses, you had to figure out how to move quickly to continue servicing people, especially in a time of crisis. And ironically, while I was pregnant with my twins, I ended up being hospitalized for the last 30 days and started doing telehealth at that time. And when I kind of went back to work, I continued to do telehealth on occasion. And so I had started working with a group in North Carolina who was kind of a mom and pop Zoom, if you will. And they actually were able to get us, we went from 6 lines for telehealth to 23 lines overnight. So what I had to do the next day was train all the therapists at the practice to do that. And then of course they had to train their clients how to come to their appointments from now on. So I would say that was probably the biggest shift that happened as a result of COVID-19.
My next question is, what kind of clients do you get?
We pretty much start at age 6 and go all the way up into probably, I think right now our oldest client is in their 70s. I've had a client as old as 90. And I don't know, I think it's nice to have a variety of work.
Yeah.
So that way then it doesn't just kind of get boring, one kind of same issue over another. And I've learned over the years too that the more engaged you get with different clients, it sharpens your skills as a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it working for your own company?
Well, I feel at times like it's been a challenge to figure out how to stop working, just because there's always stuff to do, and knowing that it's always my responsibility to ensure that things are done. I think I've created some good boundaries for myself. The reality though is that because there's other people involved, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm always on call, and so, you know, I've just kind of learned to roll with it, and doesn't kind of matter where I am and what I'm doing, which goes back to like the very beginning of me being a therapist. My first job out of grad school was the 24/7 crisis coverage person, and I used to carry a fanny pack with me everywhere I went, full of resources and batteries, because back then cell phones were like bricks. And so you had to put it in your fanny pack. And I mean, I've gone skiing and at the top of the chairlift got off and the pager went off. And back then there were pagers. And so it didn't matter where I was. I was always on call. I was on call when I went to Colorado. I was on call when I went to California. I was always on call. So I kind of got used to that. And I think that's kind of helped. You know, this past Saturday, one of our offices, the ceiling caved in. I was at a Boy Scout event with my son, and you know, I had to figure out how we were going to get the ceiling off of our furniture and you know, get things repaired.
Yeah. I'm Rowan Froemel,
Thank you.
and thank you for watching People in Perspective.